Okay, everybody, remember where this started? This started with me going to reveal 2 divine books to you. That's right, divine. And I mean that God wrote these books in heaven, sent them to earth by angels, and then the angels stood near 2 human beings and had both of these human beings transcribe these books from the golden books that they had brought onto paper and then published. Okay, now not many people know about these books, but I'm going to prove to you that they're divine and that they were meant to come forth at this time in our history. The books state in them as a revelation that all mankind will have them and they will be preached in all the world, and then the end will come. So it is, the commandment has been given to me to bring these forth to you. So I hope that you will focus and pay attention. I've already released 16 other videos leading up to this one. I hope you go back and you look at those. I did do a summation video last video, but what I'm doing this video is I'm going to do a kind of like a date history. I'm not going to give you exact dates, but I'm going to just kind of go over things with you and do it as close as I can, okay? So again, this starts out with the Quakers, all right? The Quakers over in England. Quakers began in the 1650s. Visions and dreams from the Quaker leader. Okay, who is next? We have the James and Jane Wardley Foundation, or association. They come out of the Quakers directly. They did not believe that the Quakers were doing everything that they should be doing, but they believed that there was a more holy and direct path you could live for Jesus. And God also expounded on Jane Wardley that his that Jesus' second coming was imminent and very close. This happens, and this is the Wardley Foundation, and I want to say the 1747, I believe. So pretty close to 100 years after the Shakers began. Now, what comes out of the Wardley Foundation? Well, this is the most important one. These are the Shakers. Okay? Also, over there, known as the Shaking Quakers. But to us, we would call them the Society of Christ, Believers in Christ's Second Appearance. So the Shakers come forth around the 1770s. And Mother Ann Lee becomes the leader of them and leads them over to this land in 1775, okay, as a revelation from God saying that the Americas will be the new founded land of his Zion. It will be his new Jerusalem, which is rather interesting, and here's why. We'll get to that in a second. But remember, she comes over, she starts her voyage, we'll just put V for voyage, in 1775, and lands over here in 1775 also. While the war was basically, at that point, just finishing. Because remember, July 4th, 1776 is Independence Day, okay? So she gets over here, but she dies almost 10 years later. But not after building a great legacy in so many other factions of her society in different places. And she had a lot of revelations and did a lot of healings, and there's a lot in many people's diaries about her. She never wrote about herself, but many people wrote about her, okay? And this happened in, remember, she died in 1784, okay? What happens next after that? We have we're going to jump to the Latter-day Saints now. We have the first vision of Joseph Smith. This is in 1820 from the angel of Moroni, right? So Moroni. What happens after that? Joseph Smith, from the year of 1823 to 1827, September 22nd, please remember this date, September 22nd, 1823 through 1827, being shown the Book of Mormon. In 1827, he's finally allowed to get the Book of Mormon. Okay? So, Book of Mormon, 1827. What happens after that? So, he gets the Book of Mormon in 1827, and then around 1830 to 1831, he is commissioned to rewrite the Bible by God. And we call this the New Translation of the Bible. And he finishes that up before his death. But that was hid under a bushel. Okay? So, or under a bush, rather. That was hid for a long time, okay, by his wife and kept under lock and key. So nobody really knew about that book and the changes that were made in it. Maybe one man came, I think, and he copied just a little, but not much. So what happened? He dies in Carthage jail in 1844, right? So what were a couple of his other works? Well, as I said in my last video, it's the Book of Abraham. But that work, I'm telling you, was of Satan. Okay? It was not of God. That was of evil. And we know that to be the case because it was paid for by money. The Book of Abraham was paid for by money. He didn't get a revelation to do the Book of Abraham. Not like he did get the revelation to do the inspired version of the Bible. And the Doctrines and Covenants. How do we know that's doctrine? How do we know that that's true? Well, because those were words that God was speaking to Joseph Smith. Admittedly, there are a few Doctrines and Covenants that I would not say are doctrines, just because they are letters of Joseph Smith's, or prayers even. But we do have the Doctrines and Covenants of Joseph Smith that he did all the way from when he received the Book of Mormon until now. So let's just count 3 of his works that he did. He did the Book of Mormon, the Doctrines and Covenants, and the inspired version of the Bible. Now, not everybody knows about these. So what happened after his death? Well, we have the letter of appointment who was given to James Strang after his death in 1844. 1844, all the way to 1856 is when James Strang led the Latter-day Saints. Okay, Brigham Young also did too, but it was actually bestowed by the angels upon James Strang, and he got the letter of appointment from Joseph Smith. You can Google this if you'd like. It's in Wikipedia. What else happens? James Strang brings forth the plates of Voree, and thousands of people are allowed to see these. There's witnesses that seen the ground was undisturbed, and he was led there by an angel in a dream. So he finds the plates of Voree. The book of the law of the Lord comes forth also almost in the 50s, right? So now we have James Strang all the way from this time until his death in 1856. And he died the same way that Joseph Smith died, which was from a bullet to the head. Okay? And he actually, what's interesting is he survives past the 12th year. He's shot and he survives for 3 weeks past the 12th year of Joseph Smith's death anniversary. And of course, they both died the same way because they were both doing the same evil. And what evil was that? That was speaking in the name of other gods, changing the religion, and also having a plurality of wives. Because God didn't never give them a doctrine and covenant which allowed them multiple wives. I know that's how they're reading it, but if you actually read this and you read it correctly, you would know that was just never the case. So the books that I'm about to reveal to you that were written in the 1840s, not by Joseph Smith, are going to prove that the Book of Mormon is real. And not only are they going to prove that the Book of Mormon is real, but they're going to prove that God exists. And any atheist, I would recommend to watch this because this is going to get interesting.